Good morning everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Volmer. And today is part 2 of the Townscene update. So before we get into that, there's a couple of bits to do with housekeeping to do, and also I've got a couple of bits to show you, and then we can move on to the layout update. Firstly, one of my subscribers on my last video had asked the question as to why my layout was called Mildenhall and Volmer. So the reason behind Mildenhall and Volmer, the name, is it was one of those things that was floating around for a long time, because I tend to kind of find these names and I quite like that, and I go, oh, I'll keep that because that could be a good name for a layout. And when I had Beringer back in the day, I was dealing with a good friend of mine, and she was based at Mildenhall. I believe it's US Air Force Base, Mildenhall. And I liked the name, so it just stuck. And it was just sort of sitting there. And I just thought there'll come a time when I might use that as part of a layout, unbeknownst to me about this layout. And so the time came to build this layout, and Mildenhall came up. And that's how the Mildenhall part of it came of it. And the Volmer came also from Beringer, because when I first did Beringer, sorry, not when I first did Beringer, but just before I was going to take Beringer down because I had to move. Before I realised I had to move, I'd started making a container terminal, and the container terminal was going to be made with a Volmer crane, which I've since passed on to Philip Page. And so the crane was actually made by Volmer, a company called Volmer. And because I was planning on making a container terminal again, I thought, since I didn't get to finish what I'd started at Beringer with the container terminal, that as a kind of homage to that, as a tribute to the container terminal I never actually built at Beringer, that when I built this one, I was going to call it Volmer after the container terminal. After the container crane that I was going to use and make at Beringer. So that's how Mildenhall and Volmer came about. So the Volmer part is container part and container yard, because of the crane made by Volmer, and the Mildenhall came from my friend. So that's how that sort of came about. So that, hopefully that answers that question. Second of all, somebody'd asked me if I was going to do any train spotting videos over the weekend, and sadly I can't. I'm not really doing anything this weekend. I haven't been too well, to be honest. So I'm not really fit enough to be going out too far or doing anything. So no is the short answer to that. I've been doing things on the layout purely because the layout is actually to hand. Otherwise I wouldn't even be attempting to do anything on the layout. If it was in the loft or in the garage, I wouldn't be doing anything. But since it's to hand and it keeps my spirits up, I've been getting on with the Townscene, and because it's fairly easy and light work, it just keeps me entertained until I get back to work. So that answers that question. So moving on to the layout, I've got some things for the layout. They're not actually railway related, but they are for the layout. I did buy this big value pack of premium felt pads, and they are used on the layout, and I'll show you that when we come to that. I've also bought some of these, also from polystyrene, evergreen. I bought the tubes for the lights, for the container yard lights, and this is actually H-beam, as you can see, number 287, and as you can probably tell, look, there you go, that's how they look. The reason for buying this is going to be added on for the supports, because that's what today's about. Today's video is about doing the supports and the top of the Townscene. So that's going to be part 2, and then part 3 will probably be more likely to do with I'll come a lot bit further down the line, because that's going to be to do with putting up new buildings and creating the Townscene itself. So this is one of the beams. This is going to be used as a supporting beam to go underneath the tunnel, so then the Townscene will sit on top like that, and this will just provide the support to keep it rigid and straight. So that's what that's for. This cost me £5 a pack. And I've got something new to show you. And what I've got to show you, as you can see, it's still sealed, but I've actually seen it because it was taken out for me. On my last, I think it was my last video, I was talking about my glue gun. And I was saying that I'd like to get something a bit more beefy, a bit more meaty. And so, hence this product. It's a brand new glue gun. Well, I suppose it is a tool gun, but it is a glue gun. And it's absolutely fabulous. The price was fabulous. And it's absolutely brilliant. So if I just show you as it comes in the box, that's it there. A bit dubious, just in case it all sort of falls out. Can't really see much, but I'll take it out for you. So there's a little stand for this, which I have to sort out where this goes, because I'm not sure. I've never actually put this. So you get a couple of glue sticks, but I'm going to buy another pack. I asked if they were standard, so there should be standard glue sticks. I haven't actually come across them yet, but I'm sure I will do. This is the actual glue gun itself, and it's cordless, so it's quite a bit meaty. But it's good that it's cordless, because that means it's going to be a lot easier to manage without having wires sort of dragging around. And then you got the stand for it, and so that plugs in to the stand like so. So it goes in like so, like that. And then you got the charger battery lead here. So that's cool. I'm not sure what this is about. I think this is to do with it sitting somewhere. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into the instructions to see what this little bit's for. But either way, it's fantastic. So this is a lot more meatier, and definitely what I wanted. And the price on this was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I saw, because I was in Wix's, because I was planning to go and get some bits at Wix's, which was I was going to get a piece of moulding for the I-beam. So I was going to, instead of using the I-beam, the H-beam I should say, I was going to get a piece of moulding, a little square piece of moulding. But the prices of mouldings absolutely rocketed through the roof. So I just decided to go against that. And I had a quick look at their glue guns, and they only had one, and that was actually more expensive than this, and it was actually more like the size of my Hobbycraft one, as opposed to this one. So if I show you the this is my Hobbycraft one, and this is my new one, and if you can see, it's quite a bit bigger. So it's definitely more beefier, which is great, because that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to buy something similar to my Hobbycraft one, which is pretty much what Wix's were doing. The Wix's one that I saw that they had was pretty much a similar size to this one, and it was 16, I think it's 16, nearly £17, I think 16.50 or 16.39, something like that. But luckily, where I live, I have a tool station right next to me. and prices there tend to be a lot more reasonable. So this I picked up for just 15 quid, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I really do. I think it's absolutely brilliant that I've got this for £15. I think it's really great value for money. Because I've seen some other ones around this sort of size which go for a lot more. So to pick this up from Toolstation for £15, I think is a really great price, and it's a really fabulous tool. I highly recommend it. Like I said before, this one will still have a good place and good use on my layout, no doubt. It won't be thrown away, because this will be used as what I've been currently using for my little jobs. But the thing is, the reason why I wanted one of the bigger ones, this big one, was because you could get through some of the tasks a bit quicker than me using just this one. I found that, like for example, when I was doing the beading, or quite a long bead across the tab to fit that in, it takes longer doing this. Whereas with this one, it will be a lot quicker because it's bigger, and it can just get through it a lot quicker. And so I found that for some jobs, they've both got their merits. That's what I guess I'm trying to say. And so this one will still have plenty of use in my layout, no doubt. I won't stop using this one, but this is just an additional bonus. And I know that I'm going to get some use out of this, because there's going to be a lot more work for me to do. And also, it's just a fabulous tool to have in your toolbox. And it's proven I mean, the small ones have proven its worth beyond, and so will this. So no doubt, I had absolutely no qualms about buying this one. So I'm really, really pleased about getting this. So now we're going to take you to the layout, and then we're going to sort of show you and get started on what we're going to be doing. So here we are at the layout, and just before I explain what we're going to be doing today, I just thought I'd give you a quick overview of where we left it from the previous video. And basically in the last video I showed you how to make all the walling and the method of using the tabs. We'll be doing some more of that today, using the tabs. So today I'm not sure, it won't be finished. Hopefully we'll get a top on it, but there won't be a Townscene or anything just yet. But hopefully we'll get a top on it, and we'll take it from there. We'll see how long this video takes and see how we get on. It seems that quite a few of you are interested in me doing this, so I just thought I'd show you how we're going to carry on doing the top part of the new Townscene. Now, I was out the other day doing a bit of a test, and I managed to go to one of my other model shops, and luckily they had some more of this Metcalf stone walling, so that will allow me to tidy up some of the areas which I wish to tidy up. So let me just take you to one of the areas I wish to sort of tidy up, if I can show you. There's this bit here that I want to tidy up and put a new piece of card on. That's because I basically used the offcuts of the remaining card that I had before I got the other pack, and as you can see, there's some kind of unsightly joint here which I don't particularly like. So when I took let me just take you down off the tripod for a moment. When you were coming down here, I noticed that you could see, I know it's difficult to see from here, but you can actually see some of the joins that I really didn't like. But as you can see from here, you get some quite nice views through this little letterbox view of the station, which is going to be quite nice, and especially once it's all ballasted up and everything, that's going to look quite good. So anyway, back to today's mission. As I've said to you on many occasions, we always start with a big piece of card, and there it is, big piece of A3 card. So we're now going to show you how we're going to convert this and shape it to fit the Townscene. So there's one piece that's going to go there. I was messing about with it, and as you can see there's a big massive overhang, so all that needs to be shaped and cut and everything like that. But as you can also see, it matches the level of the building there, so that should sit nicely. I then have another piece of card, and that will fit over here like so, and then that will butt up to this one like so. So that's roughly how it's going to work, but obviously, like I said, it all needs to be shaped up and everything like that, and then obviously we need to make it a little bit more rigid, but essentially that's how it's going to work, because I was just testing it which way around to put the two pieces of card. So this is the way that it's going to work, with just the one join across the middle, as you can see there. But like I said, once it's shaped and cut and made more rigid, it will be fine. So we're going to start up this top corner first of all. So I just need to get a template together and then transfer it onto the card, and then we can make a start. So as you can now see, I've just laid some scrap paper on top of this card here, and basically it's just to cover the shape that I'm going to need to cut onto the card, and so the paper doesn't fall straight through, and so I know the exact width of the card. I've just put the exact paper all the way across the length of the card, so I now know that the card finishes here, so this should fit right. So when I transfer the curve onto the card, it should marry up perfectly with the card, and then I just have to cut the shape out of the card. So that's why I've done it like that. And then what I'll do is I'll remove the card and start making the indentations for it, and then I've got a line that I can use to have a template for to put onto the card. So that's what I'm going to do next. I've now removed the card, and now I'm going to create the template for it to fit onto the main piece of card. So this is going to be the template. So what I do is you just run your fingers across the edge and make sure it's all nice and straight. So I'm running my fingers across the edge here. At this stage, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want a rough shape, because what you can do is you can always fettle it afterwards. So as you can see, I've now got a cut line there. So that goes onto the card. And I'm just going to move you out a bit so I can get around it a bit better. I'll zoom you in a bit more, and then you can hopefully see what I'm doing there. And then you just again run your fingers across the line, and as you can see there's a line forming all the way through. And hopefully you can see that you've got a line just by rubbing your fingers, like you've got that curve. It's now on the template there, and is now on the template there. So as you can now see quite clearly, you've got the distinct cut lines here, and there's the cut line there. So now I'm going to cut it out, and then we're going to try and refit it and see how it looks. So as you can see, I've now trimmed it to size, and you can see it's a pretty good fit. So let's just have a little bit closer look. Yep, it's a bit flimsy and it's a bit bowed, but the shape is there. So once you transfer that onto the card, then you'll have your shape for your top. So, and this is, like I said, this is just whatever materials you have. It doesn't have to be any specific tape. It doesn't have to be any specific paper. It's just whatever scraps you just got lying around, just to create a template so you can transfer that onto the card. And then once you've done that, then obviously you can put that onto the card, and you can disregard this and throw this out. So that's what you need to do. And then basically we'll be doing the same again for this section when we're ready. So as you can see on the floor there, that the template lines up perfectly with the card. Now as you can see, there's a bit of card that you can see at the bottom. That's going to be my tab, so that can sort of sit up against the back piece of the box section, so that will hold it in place. And then there'll be another tab that will run along the top section, and then again that will butt it up to the other end and hold it in place there. And then I'm going to add another tab along the side there to then hold it on the side there. And then on this section is where it meets up to the next piece of board. So I've now marked out the card on this side, and as you can see, I've marked it out across there. There's the lines. I know it's a bit difficult to see, but I tried dropping it down and you couldn't really see the lines. But I've marked it on both sides. As you can see, it's easier to see on the white side. There's a reason for this, and this is something that you have to bear in mind when you're using this technique. Basically, what it is I want the tabs. In fact, I'll show it to you on the layout. It's probably going to be easier to explain it. As you can make out, I've got the lines going across there and the line going across here. Now, something you have to bear in mind is that if you go down this road and you want to use the tab technique, which is what I'm doing, you have to think about where you want the tabs to go. So on this side, I want the tab to flip down so it can tuck inside this card underneath here, so it butts up against this card. So therefore, to do that, you would score along this line on this side, the grey side up, to be able to flip it down. However, on this line, I want it to do the opposite, because I want this tab here, as you can see, there's like a 1 centimeter tab that runs along there. I want it to go up, like so. But in order for it to go up, I have to score it from the white side, which is why I've marked it on the white side, because then it will hopefully butt up along this ridge here. And that's what I need it to do. So that's why I've had to mark it on both sides. So you have to bear that in mind, that if you use the tabs, which way round you want to put the tabs, to make sure that you score the card in the right manner, so it folds down in the right way, in the right direction that you want and the orientation that you want. So that's why I have to score on the grey side to flip it down, and on the white side to flip it up. So I've now got a big piece of card, I've trimmed it, and as you can see, that extra centimetre that I had before, I've created the tabs again. But as you can see, they're folded up because I scored it along the back because I wanted it to go up. Now, as you can see, some of these are slightly thicker as you go down, but that doesn't matter because you can always trim this off. So this is just about getting it roughly right and test fitting it. So I will test fit it and then show it to you. So in fact, I'll do that right now. We'll see how it looks as I put it into this corner. And as you can see, it's a pretty good fit. The curve is just about there, and that will sit on there. Lovely. So it's supposed to sit on this line here. So that is pretty much good. It needs to be pushed right in, and this will come up to here. But as you can see, the line is slightly out here, but I gave myself some extra space just in case it was going to be out, and so I allowed for that. I mean, that curve there was the most important curve, was the most important part of this first bit, because the straight bits are easy to deal with, because I can just draw another line further in and then basically score it. But this time I'll be scoring it from the top, from the grey side up, whereas on this side I scored it from the white side. And as you can see, it's pretty sturdy as it is for the Townscene, and there isn't going to be much weight going on this, but it will be supported even more. So my next job now is to realign this line to make sure it goes in there, and then it can slot down into this, and then that will kind of sort of push it right up against that on there, so it won't go anywhere. And that's why I just using the tab. This kind of looks unsightly, but what I will do is I will have another piece of card which will kind of run along here, that will be glued to the tabs, so then you don't see the tabs, and then I can put some brick paper on it to hide it all, and then after that will be fine. So that'll be that. So as you can see, that one big piece of card is now being nibbled down to fit on here. And if I take you down, you can sort of gauge an effect of, probably best that I take you off the tripod, to be honest. Oh. You can start to see the effect that you're going to get from underneath. And it's all sitting lovely on the spans and the supports. Just incidentally, whilst I've got you down here, some of you may be asking me why I needed to put the tabs up rather than down, like on this corner here, which I'll just show you, this corner here. Instead of, why have I folded it up instead of down? Well, the reason why I wanted to fold it up is because I didn't want to see any of the tabs coming down underneath. So here I wanted it to be nice and clean underneath here, so you can see all the brickwork. If you start putting the tabs down, then it just looks unsightly and it doesn't look very nice, which is why I put the tabs up, because I can disguise the tabs on the upside with a piece of retaining strip to make it out like it's the wall, and then it keeps this bottom side clean. So that's why I've put the tabs up rather than down, so you don't see the tabs underneath here when you get the cam truck. So as you can see, there's a difference in the tabs. You've got those ones going up, you've got this one going down, and then you've got the supports here, but I'll be adding some more supports in here, and we'll see how this fits. And you can see how the original line is out, because this was the original line I did. So it goes to show you how far out it was. But that's why I wanted to do the curve first. When I come to do the bottom end, that's what I'll be doing again. Just doing the curve first, make sure that fits, and allowing extra card for the bottom end. And then I can then trim the bottom end to suit, because they're straight edges, which is much easier to deal with than the curves. So like I said, and I'll put a tab on the other side as well. But as you can see, it's pretty much there. So this is what you can expect us to see from the letterbox view. I think that will look quite nice once it's all done. So you can get some nice running shots. You can just about see the station. In fact, there you go. And if I zoom in, let's see what else you can see. So you can get rid of the card view. So you can just do some nice running shots from the train coming through. That's quite nice actually. I haven't seen that before, but I like it. So here's another view. So I'm not going to bore you to tears with me doing this second piece, because it's essentially exactly the same way as I've done the first piece over in the corner. So I'm going to carry on and we'll see how far we get. This is our now a new top for this corner. As you can see, it still needs to be supported in there, which I will do. But for the meantime, this is how it looks. And the tabs sort of secure it in a position so it doesn't move. By George, I think I've done it. I think I have. I'm well pleased, well pleased. As you can see, here is the said joint, but it's not a massive joint. As you can see, you can't see too much of it. There's not a big gap between, so that's great. Again, there's a little bow under there, but again, that's all to do with supporting, but I haven't really got that far yet. But as you can see, this is now the footprint of the Townscene, all the way through now. Onwards and upwards, as they say. So now I've fitted these in. I've now also fitted the supports. Not all of them. I've still got the H-beams to fit, but I have actually fitted the supports in the hollow areas. So as you can see now, I fitted in these dowels, and that just gives some supports. This is basically scrap doweling that I've had left over. So this could be anything. So if you decide to go down this route, you don't have to do what I've done. This is just something that I've done. This is scrap doweling that I have, and then I bought the felt pads, and I stuck the felt pads on top of them, and that just kind of cushions the wood up against the bottom of the card, just so it doesn't. To me, it just makes it easier in terms of, so the wood doesn't sort of scrape or damage or anything the card. I just think it's just a bit easier. It's just a bit of protection, to be honest. And this is really, really fantastic stuff. So, I mean, you don't have to do this by any stretch of the imagination. You can do this any way you want. If you're to go down this road, this is just because this is what I have to hand. The only thing I bought was the pack of felt pads. That's all I bought. But I didn't really have to do that, but I just felt I wanted to. Now, the great thing is my trusty glue gun. It just goes to show you how great it is. Look, this isn't going anywhere. This isn't screwed in or anything like that. I didn't have to drill any holes or anything. So again, it's like I didn't make too much mess doing this. The only mess I made was just to cut the lengths of the dowels out. But in terms of the glue gun, that's stuck the wood to the wood. It's also stuck the tabs down along here. And if I just, this tab here, all the way along here is one of the reasons why I bought the bigger glue gun, because I thought with a smaller glue gun, the glue stick doesn't last that long, and it goes through the glue sticks quite quickly. So I thought with a bigger glue gun, you'll have bigger glue sticks, therefore I can do the job all in one hit rather than replace the glue sticks. So that's why, one of the reasons why I wanted to get a bigger one. The H-beam which I bought, which is this stuff from Evergreen, I will be putting that, kind of spacing it out kind of along there, and maybe like every so often I'll just space it out and then I'll just glue it on. There you go. There's a better support here, better surface here. It's wider, so the card can sit on top of this. There's been more support for the card to sit on it, which is why I went for the H beam rather than the I beam. So that's going to be my next job. So I've now fitted the H beams using my trusty glue gun, and they're not going anywhere. And the card just sits on the top of this. As you can see, I won't take off the other one, but as you can see down there, and so the card just sits on this. I might, more than likely, will probably buy another pack of supports, H-beams, and I will probably put some more here and here, just to give it a bit more, even more support really. I'm not sure whether or not, I mean, it's worked perfectly fine, it isn't too bad, but I just think I think it could probably do with some more support, so I might very well put in some more H-beams here and here at some point. At this bit where it's open with the letterbox view, it's a bit more tricky because there's a bit of flex in that, so I didn't really want to put the beam from there across there because I just didn't think it would really, so I supported it elsewhere where it'd be more sturdy, which is fine. Like I said, this isn't going anywhere. So the H beams are now in, so I'm really pleased with that. So I'll just put the top back on. So as you can see, it's perfectly fine as it is. It's not going anywhere. But I just think it would probably look better if it had some more. So here in the letterbox view, as I call it, you can't really see any light bleed from anywhere, and you can see some of the pillars. But like I say, I will be fitting in some more. So finally, in this view, you can also see that I've done some, let me just move that big glue stick out of the way, that I've done some work to the outside and added some detail. It isn't finished, but you can probably see that there's some pillars and things, and also the top. I'll just give you a quick closer pan view. So as you can now see, I've done this bit of detailing here, and as you can see round, there's some detailing going on along the top here. Then you put the buttresses in, and that breaks up the sort of blandness of it all. And then as you see from the top, just how big it is. Now you can also see the kitchen in the background. So I'm going to put the old back scene on, and I'll explain to you finally, before we finish the video, exactly what I'm planning on doing. So as you can see from this view, this is the old back scene that we've got going on here, but you can automatically see how much bigger it is, and you can also see that from this piece of card here, the scrap piece which was left over, which is that sort of corner piece, is what's gone to make this corner piece here, which I've made as a wraparound. So when you look at it from a different view, I'll just take you off the tripod. If you're sort of looking down, you can sort of see it goes round the corner. And so that seems to work better. And all that is that's actually, this actual bit is just pinned in. That's just pinned in between this back piece and this board here, and that just slots in. And then I've created this curve here. So this curve that I've created here will now be a curve that I'll draw onto a piece of paper to create the pavement. And so as you can see here, this will be the new back scene. I will probably, this is still the old back scene with the old buildings on. I could probably order some new ones, but have it something similar. But what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to repaint this back scene in white once I've basically taken the buildings off and sanded the board down. Repaint it in a plain white, and use this paint here, which is a nice, more subtle sky effect. That's because basically the paint that I used to do the majority, which is that one and that one, there was a Wilco paint and you can't get it anymore. And I got something similar, and I got this from Halfords instead, which is Ford Bermuda Light Blue. And basically this is a new colour that I'm using, and it and basically it's the same technique as before, just a light dusting and build up the layers. And I think this side is actually giving a more subtle impression than that one. So I'm going to more than likely completely repaint this backboard here to blend this whole backboard in. And like I said, I'm going to take these buildings off, sand the board down, repaint it in a white, and then basically then go through the whole process of dusting it again to create the same colour as of what I've got going on here. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I won't be doing the back scene because obviously that's going to cause a lot of problems with the buildings I already have here. But I'm just going to blend this back scene in with this corner piece here a lot better, and that should give a much better effect. So that's what I'm going to be doing with that. I've got a new building going in there in that corner, and then that will hopefully blend in with these buildings when they go back on, if I use these ones, or whether I get some new ones. Like I said, I think I'm going to order some new ones, and I'll also put some more buildings around here. So I'm going to use it as a wraparound, and then the road will kind of make it out like it's coming from this direction, and then sort of sweeping around until you get back over to that corner where the gap is over there, and make it out like the road sort of goes follow behind the brick retaining wall, or it goes somewhere else. So that's kind of what the plan is there. And then I can just build up. Like I said, we're going to have a big building there. I've got it from the internet. I haven't ordered it yet because of bank holiday, but I will be ordering it today for it to be sent out tomorrow morning. Hopefully I should have it by the end of the week, and I might even be able to have it up and ready by the weekend, but I'm not sure. There's no promises on that. But I'm sure you can see now exactly what I was aiming for from that very first video, where people are probably thinking, what am I doing? You can now sort of see from a distance exactly what I'm aiming at. And like I said, once I've got the pavements down, I'm going to have an island here. So I haven't quite mapped it out, but I've now got a really good idea of what I want to do. So this is really, really good. And this wraparound piece is going to be a lot better as well. I really like this little wraparound piece in the corner, because it's just, you don't see the join, that 90-degree join in the corner, and you don't really get to see the back of the kitchen and all the rest of it. So I'm hoping that when I do the cam truck and it runs along in that direction, that when people look up, you'll just be able to see at most the town scene. You won't be able to look up and over the town scene behind it. And also when it comes around the corner, that again, your eye won't be drawn towards what's behind the layout this way. So that's what I'm going to do. I could have brought this corner piece actually out to the very end here, but I've just thought I'm not going to do that, because I think there's going to be some lovely camera angles at ground level which I can be looking at through that side. So if I had the wall coming up this way, then I'd have to get up and over the wall, or up and over the kind of back scene, in order to get the view. So I wanted to keep this at kind of ground zero, so I can get the camera nice and low down here to get some views and shots over that way. So that's why I didn't bring this piece all the way out to here. So this concludes the end of the video for today, the Townscene Part 2. And in Townscene Part 3, we'll be looking at detailing the town scene on the top there. I'm not going to guarantee it's going to be finished or when this video is going to be up. In fact, I should actually mention that the next video from me will be something completely different. And I should warn you about it because it's to do with my gender. So those of you who are not really interested or don't want to watch it, that's perfectly fine and okay. I just wanted to put it out there because it's just as a warning really, because if it's something that you don't feel like you're really interested in or not suitable for you, then by all means do not watch it. It's got nothing to, my next video's got to have nothing to do with the model railway at all. So so just bear that in mind. So when you click on it or you see a video that says it's to do with a transgender anniversary or anything like that, then by all means, if that's not for you, then by all means don't watch it. It's not a problem. I really don't have any issues. Obviously, this is my channel, and when it's called, it's not called Milton Volmer Model Railway or Beringer Model Railway, this is just, it's called me. It's Susanna Joquin. So there's going to be all kinds of videos on this channel. So this is going to be one of the more unusual videos, the next one. So like I said, if it's not your cup of tea, that's perfectly fine. But it's just as a warning, just to let you guys know that if it's not your cup of tea, then don't worry, you don't need to watch it. But it isn't going to have anything to do with model railways. But like I said, the video after that will be back to normal resumption with the model railway, and hopefully it'll be to do with detailing the town scene and having that up and running and looking pretty good. I mean, it's never going to be finished because at the end of the day, I'm probably going to still be adding bits to it here and there and everywhere just to build it up even more. But the main crux of it will hopefully be done on the video after next. So until the next time, it's goodbye from Milton Volmer. Goodbye.